Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, and today I want to talk about parent-teacher conferences. In my opinion, they can be truly boring and sometimes a waste of time, a waste of precious time. By the time a parent comes into your room to discuss their child's progress, you probably have already spoken with that parent on either how well they're doing, or whether or not they need more help in this subject, whether or not behavior is on point, or if they need to improve. I know I find myself during parent-teacher conferences, I'm going through like our conference report and I'm reading the information, and then I always say, yeah, well, we talked about that. Yeah, you know this, and because you've already spoken with the parents regarding that information. So there's really no new information to discuss when they come in for a parent-teacher conference, unless there is a time where you just have not been able to get in touch with the parent from the time that the child has come into the classroom up until conferences. And usually the conferences are around the fall, the first one. So my take is, we call it a show what you know night. And this was technically it was my second year trying to show what you know. I did it years ago when I taught in a different school system, and it was a different grade level. And it's sort of like a mesh of maybe a curriculum night and a student-led conference, because when the parents come in, they are actually working with their child on the different activities that we have done throughout the first quarter. So the setup is more of the parents are more involved. It's not just to sit back and then I'm telling them, okay, they're low in this area, but they're high in here. They do well with this, and I just love having your child in my class. It's like a mesh of all of that, plus the parents can actually see what their child has been working on. Reason number two is because you have the parents and the students actively involved and engaged. It's not just to sit around the table and listen and ask questions, but again, you get to see the process that the kids are going through in order to arrive at their answers. And you get to talk through those mistakes that they make, and the parents can actually see what's going on. Reason number three is, what should I be working on at home? Parents always ask that question. What do I need to do at home? Again, when you come in and actually see the activities and everything that the students have been working on, then it's easier to determine what I need to do at home. I know the way that the show what you know night works is, after the parents and the kids rotate between the centers, they come up and have a mini conference with me. And as I go through the conference form at this point, and I talk about some things like, Johnny is really struggling with nouns and verbs. Usually I would have parents chime in and say, yeah, when we got to that center, I could tell. That's wonderful, because the parent can identify exactly what it is. They've watched their child, they've watched them work through the activity, they ask those questions, well, what is a noun? How is it different from a verb? I mean, they have really engaged and become part of the learning process. So by the time they get to me and we go through that conference form, it's like, yep, I understand why. And the big question is it extra work for me, the teacher? And I say, no, it's not. You are just going to compile the activities that you've been working on for the past quarter, or 9 weeks, or depending on when you do the show what you know night. You just gather all of the centers you've been working on, go through and pick which centers you think would fit best for the night. I didn't want anything that was too long, too lengthy for them to complete during the rotation, but there's nothing new to create. I put up a slide to give instructions on how to rotate. I made a small little checklist to help the parents navigate throughout the room, and I also created a goal sheet for the parents and the students to fill out about what they wanted to achieve by the time they ended second grade. And then I wanted the parents to also write what they could do to support their child at home to help them achieve those goals by the end of the year. So it really wasn't that much. I used one self-evaluation from Lucky Little Learners, And then on the back side of that, I just printed the goals that I wanted the kids, or the sheet that they were going to write the goals that they wanted to achieve by the end of second grade. So it truly was not extra work. I did it for 2 nights for an hour and a half, and I told my parents that I had enough time to allow 12 families to come in, and it worked out perfectly. I put up little tents by each center that just gave just a brief introduction of what that center was, and then some directions. But again, the kids knew how to play the games or work the activities because there wasn't anything new. These were things that they had done previously. And some still had to struggle. They were still in the learning process, so it was good to see all of that. I had ELA centers, reading comprehension, math fluency. We've been working on place value, just a little bit of addition with the fluency. So it was really a great night. Now for the writing, I had a couple of activities where we've been working on stretching a sentence, but we've also been working on narrative writing. So I put all of their finished writing, their published writing, into a binder. So for that night, they could bring out their binder and go through and show their parents all of their published works for that. Their brainstorms and the organizational part, all of that is inside of that binder. But that's also a good thing to have out at Show What You Know, because I really didn't have them sit down during that night and write anything. But it's a good way to show the parents what they've been working on for the 9 weeks. So it really is not extra work at all. I promise you, it was not extra work. But it was a great way for parents to really see and understand the processes that the kids would work through in order to arrive at their answers for whatever the subject may be. And for those parents who just could not come in, but you still want to go over like your conference form and all of the testing information that you have for their child, you can just set up a phone conference. Those are always great to do as well. I like to send home, before the phone conference, I like to send home a little printout that tells the parents what types of questions they may want to ask. Now, I didn't have all of my kids and families sign up for Show What You Know night, so I still have about 10 conferences to do. Some will be phone conferences, and then some will be one-on-one, face-to-face. We have a professional development day / conference day coming up, so I'll utilize part of that time to try and finish up the rest of those conferences. So we usually send home a note that'll say, you know, would you like to sign up, fill in your first 2 time choices, and then I also put in there whether or not you want to make that conference one-on-one or do you want it to be a phone conference. But with those conferences, outside of the Show What You Know, I like to send home like a little printout, and I'll link that in the description box below. There's a printout that tells parents the purpose of the conference, what you can do before the conference, during the conference, and after the conference, good questions that they could ask, just so that time is really maximized. And you know, I don't want them walking out later saying, oh, I meant to ask her about this, or oh, she didn't show me this. So just to get all that together, and so when you come in to know we're on very limited time. Usually the conferences are about 10 to 15 minutes just to accommodate everyone. So you want to get more bang for your buck, and you want to have the parents just as prepared as you are when you sit down at that table to discuss their child's progress. I hope you'll give Show What You Know night a try. I think it'll be much better, or at least something different than the traditional parent-teacher conference. I think it'll be a benefit to all the parties involved. And I know for a fact your students will love it. Mine did. I think they take such pride when their parents come in and they can show them what they know, and show them their work, and just have those conversations that I don't really think that they would have outside of that classroom. So if you do decide to do a Show What You Know night, please let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear about it. Thank you for watching this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, please do, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.